Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are building this SwiftUI task app, a simple but beautiful way to manage your daily tasks in SwiftUI. But here's the fun part. While building this, we are going to learn three powerful concepts that every iOS developer should know. The first one is to learn how we can use the factory pattern for dependency injection. Then we're going to see how we can structure up with a clean architecture. And last but not least, we're going to learn how to add a smooth Swift UI animation. So by the end of this video, you won't just have a working app. You will have a cleaner, more professional way to structure your Swift UI projects. Alright, let's start this off by creating a new project. And here we want to organize our files as senior developers, okay? We're going to create three folders. For the first one, we're going to name it data layer. And this is where we handle data, fetching, saving, or mocking our task. Now let's create a second folder and we'll call it domain layer. And this folder is the brain of our app, okay? This is the folder where we will include all the logic of the app. Now, last but not least, let's create a third folder. And for this folder, it's going to be the presentation layer. And this folder is the UI of our project, where we're going to have our view model and our Swift UI views. Think of it like running a restaurant. The data layer is your kitchen. This is where we want to store and prepare our ingredients. Now, the domain layer is the chef. The chef is the one deciding what to cook. And the last layer, the presentation layer, is like a waiter. And the waiter is the one in charge of presenting the final dish to the customer. And in this case, to our users, okay? And when working on medium or big apps, it's extremely important for us to keep this separate, okay? Because this is going to help you scale and test your app easily. And of course, this app is a small app, okay, but because we are senior developers, we want to practice this. Let's start with the first key concept of this video, the factory pattern. Before we can dive into it, first of all, let me explain the problem. Most junior developers usually, when they want to create an object inside a view, they're going to create that object inside each view, okay? And that's totally fine for a quick demo. But as your app grows, we don't want our code to get messy, okay? Remember, we are senior developer, okay? So we want to add this factory pattern, okay? Because the factory pattern is going to act like the central workshop. It builds and hands you whatever tools or parts you need, okay? Let's see this in practice. Inside our project, let's create a new file and we're going to call it factory. Now here, in order to save some time, we're simply going to copy and paste what we have in the finish app. And as we said, we want this factory to create instances of what we need inside the app, okay? And for now, don't worry about these error messages, okay? What we are doing here is simply say, okay, anywhere in the app, if we need this task repository, what we want to do, we want to create this instance here so that we don't have to create this again inside the view, okay? Let's take another example. For example, this home view model. So here, let's actually create a view model. Here, inside this presentation layer, we can create a new file and we're going to call it home view model. Now let's create a home view. And to show you what this factory does, let's say, for example, that we need an instance of a home view model inside this home view, okay? So yeah, instead of writing this and creating an instance of this home view model inside this home view, what this factory does, it helps us doing this. So instead of this, I'm simply going to comment this out. And yet, instead of creating a new instance of this home view model, we're simply going to call this default factory and this shared. And now we're going to call this make home view model, okay? And yeah, since we only have a single view, okay, maybe you don't see the importance of this. But if we need this home view model on somewhere else, let's say, for example, the settings view or whatever view we need, we're going to simply call this. And by calling this, we're going to have a single instance of this home view model for throughout the whole app, okay? So this is what this factory does. Anytime we need, for example, this home view model, we're simply going to call this shared, okay, this default factory, then shared, and we're simply going to call this make this home view, okay? And as you can see, here we create an instance of this home view model, okay? So we're going to have the same instance of home view model throughout the whole app. And the best way to visualize this is to think of running a car factory. Well, each car factory has many salespeople, okay? And those salespeople, they don't know how to build the car. They know how to sell the car, but they don't know how to build the car, how to build the engine, how to paint the car, okay? They just come and ask the factory for a car, okay? I got this request from a client and I need this car, okay? But they don't know how to assemble the car. But the factory does. The factory knows how to assemble the car correctly, okay? And the same idea goes with your app. Your view, and in this case, a home view doesn't know how to actually make this home view model, okay? Or it shouldn't know how to make this home view model, okay? So what it's going to do is going to say, hey, factory, I need this home view model, okay? But I don't know how to build it, okay? So build it for me and just give it to me. And our factory is the one who knows how to actually build our home view model, okay? And if we go back to our example, the bigger a car factory is, the more salespeople it has, okay? And by the same token, the bigger our app is, the more view it has. So learning about dependency injection is extremely important for us. Okay, now let me quickly complete this home view model. And we're going to do that by simply copying and paste what we have on the finished app, okay? And as you can see here, for each instance of our home view model, we need these two use cases, okay? We need this get tags use case protocol, and we also need this protocol, okay? And for this data source, as you can see, we initialize this, okay? So we do not need to give this data source when we create this home view model. So that's what we're doing here in this factory. As you can see, every time we call this make home view model, okay, we create an instance of this home view model, okay, and we give these two use cases. So let me go ahead and create this mock task data source. And of course, it's going to be inside the data layer. And inside this class, we want to provide our mock data. Now, let's talk about clean architecture, which is the foundation of this project. Our home view model should only talk to our use cases and not directly to a data source, okay? Let's see this in practice. Here, as you can see, in order for us to create this home view model, we need these two use cases, okay? And as we said, our home view model should never talk directly to a data source, okay? Why? Well, in order for us to explain this, let's go back to our kitchen example, okay, or restaurant example. Yeah, you should remember that our view model is part of the presentation layer, okay? And yeah, our home view model represents our weather, okay? So what the client does, he says, hey, I want to eat this meal, okay? So he comes and talk to the waiter, I want to eat this, okay? And the waiter should not or is not the one responsible of actually cooking the meal, okay? We don't expect the waiter to go to the kitchen and actually cook the meal, okay? That's not his job. His job is to take the order and just handle it to the chef, okay? So that's the reason why we don't want our home view model to talk directly to a data source, okay? Because if we do that inside a code, that's like making a waiter go cook the meal. That's not his job, okay? So that's why I said our home view model should never talk directly to a data source, okay? Now that the waiter has passed that order to the chef, what the chef does, he said, okay, I know the recipe to cook this meal, okay? So I'm going to instruct the kitchen to cook it, okay? Because the chef is also not the one who is going to cook it, okay? So the chef is going to instruct people who work in the kitchen to actually cook the meal, okay? And now people who work in the kitchen, which is the repository, are the one who's going to actually cook the meal, okay? And with this illustration in mind, let's go back to our app and let me show you something. When we come here and for example, we toggle this is like the view or the client asking for a specific mail. So what we are doing here, inside the view, we want to toggle this task. So it's like the client saying to the waiter that I want to eat this, okay? I want to eat this specific mail, okay? And now our waiter, which is our view model, is going to come here and say, hey, I'm not allowed to go directly to the kitchen. I'm not the one who is supposed to cook this. I'm not the one who is supposed to execute this, okay? So what I'm going to do, I should talk to the chef, okay? And in this case, a chef is this use case, okay? So the view model is going to handle this to the chef, and our use case, okay? Our use case is going to come here and say, okay, I know the recipe. I'm going to instruct people who work in the kitchen to actually cook this meal, okay? And this is what we're doing here, okay? We are instructing the kitchen to cook a meal, okay? And here, inside our repository, which is our kitchen, we cook the meal, okay? And in this case, cooking the meal is simply toggling this task, okay? That's why we are passing this task ID, okay? So we get the ID and we want to toggle this specific task with this ID, okay? The task with this ID, okay? And I know this might sound confusing, okay? And you might be tempting to simply have this line inside of view model, okay? But if you want to be a senior developer, it's extremely important for you to follow this clean architecture. Why? Well, if we go back to our kitchen example, let's say we want to correct the amount of salt we put inside the meal. In order for us to do that, we don't have to change the name of the meal, okay? We don't have to change our waiter. We don't have to change our chef. What we want to do, we simply want to correct the amount of salt we put inside that meal, okay? And yeah, why do I take that example? Simply because let's say we want to add or we want to do this toggle differently, okay, than what we are doing now, okay? Because requirements change, okay? So what we don't want to do, we don't want to come and change our view. We don't want to come and change our view model. We don't want to come and change our use case, okay? What we want to do, we want to simply come here inside this repository and change what we need to change. Okay, so clean architecture is really the key. That's the key if you want to build a scalable app. Now, for the last part of this video, let's focus on our home view. And yeah, I want you to pay attention to this animation, okay? When we select a date, as you can see, we have this small animation. First of all, we have this scale effect, okay? So pay attention when I select a date, as you can see, this is going to get bigger, okay? Let me actually update this value. If we put, for example, 1.6 or 1.5, as you can see, this one is going to be bigger, okay? So yeah, this is the animation. When I select something, I want to make this bigger, okay, in order for this date to stand out. So yeah, of course, this is ugly. Let's put this back to 1.1. And for the animation, what I chose is this is in and out, okay? And of course, yeah, feel free to change this animation, okay, if you want a different animation. All right, thank you for watching. If you learned something new, please like and share this video. And drop in the comment section what you would like me to do in the next video. In the meantime, take care. Bye bye.